Hi guys, welcome back to the Do It Yourself YouTube channel. And today I've got another plumbing tips video for you. We're going to cover PTFE tape and how to use it properly, and Loctite 55 and what the differences are between these two products and the proper uses for each one. Too many people get simple things like PTFE tape wrong and they get it all in a big mess, or they don't know how to use it properly. And with a little bit of practice and a few handy tips, I'll help you out on just how to use these products and get a really good watertight seal. So before we make a start, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, because there's loads of handy plumbing, electrical tips and things like that coming to the channel, and you're not going to want to miss those. So for those of you that are already subscribed to the channel, you'll know I always go through the tools you're going to need for each job. On this one, there's not a lot: an adjustable spanner and a pair of plumbing grips. Obviously whatever fittings you intend to use for the job, PTFE tape and or Loctite 55. If you want to know where you can grab some Loctite 55 and some PTFE tape, I'll stick a link in the description below. First up, PTFE tape or Teflon tape. So many beginners or DIYers get this wrong. You see them trying to wind PTFE tape on, it all gets a big mess and they end up with loads of PTFE tape all hanging off, or end up putting it on the wrong way around, and then when you screw this into the fitting, all it does is winds all the PTFE tape off and you get really frustrated and have to start again. So I'll show you the right way how to use this stuff. What you always want to do is keep the roll of PTFE tape under some kind of tension on your fitting, otherwise you end up with a big long length and it's really hard to control. So get a nice flat bit with a short tag hanging off the end. What you want to do is have that tag end facing away from you, so that it's always under tension. I don't know if you can see that. As long as that tag end has tension on it, and when you're looking at your fitting it looks something like that, you're actually going to always have tension on the reel, which means you won't get loads of PTFE tape hanging off the reel and one big mess. So once we've got it started on our fitting, all we need to do is do 7 turns around that thread. Best thing is to have your thumb or finger in the middle of the tape. Just keep a little bit of tension on and just wrap it round. 7. And you see there, kept it under a nice bit of tension, still under tension now. You can see that if I pull this, then the fitting moves with it. All you then need to do is snap that off, smooth it all off with your finger, and that is absolutely perfect. If you notice, what I did is actually went clockwise on the fitting. So as you look at the fitting, go clockwise with it. That way, when you wind this in, when we actually tighten that up, it doesn't all unravel. If you do it anti-clockwise as you're looking at the fitting, then what will happen as you tighten this up, it'll just force the PTFE tape out of our fitting. Now we can just tighten that fitting up and that will have a perfect seal. So that's the proper way to use PTFE tape on things like radiator valves or BSP fittings, which is a British standard pipe. You can use that on all of those types of things, but my favourite little thing for PTFE tape these days is actually using it to reseal old compression joints. With an old olive on the pipe already, you can just whip a few turns of this round and it reseals it really well. I'll stick a little link to pop up at the top here, because I do have a video that will show you exactly how to use this to fix compression joint leaks. Right, let's get rid of that. And let's move on to Loctite 55. When we're talking about Loctite 55, you'll actually see in a little while one of the potential benefits it has over PTFE tape. With this PTFE tape, as you can see here, I've now took that fitting out, and actually it's really difficult to get the old PTFE tape off. The way to actually get that completely off the fitting is with a wire brush. So it's a bit of a pain in the neck if you really just want to clean that fitting up. Whereas with Loctite 55, that isn't the case, as you'll see in a minute. So it's a pipe sealing cord. There's a few of these on the market, but this is one of the best that I've ever used. It's kind of got like a greasy coating on it, and it makes threads really easy and slick to tighten up. It's rated for hot water, cold water, and gas. I suppose its only real limitation, it's not as versatile as PTFE tape in the respect that it can be used to fix leaky compression joints and that kind of thing. But it is my new favourite for use on things like BSP half-inch fittings, for example. Now if you look on the back of the product, it tells you how many turns of the cord you need based on the size of your fitting. So for example, a half-inch fitting like this one here needs 6 to 8 turns. So it's a handy little guide on the back of the product. Right, now the best way to use this, again in a clockwise motion, start with the cord across the thread like that. You don't want to bury it in one of the threads. Start on the end of the fitting, not on the inside. So you want to be starting on this lip here, cross over on the thread like so to create a good seal, and then work our way around. So far we've put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you want to make sure they're quite random. Okay, so it doesn't need to be very uniform. Use the cutter supplied to cut through the thread, and by the time we've put that tag on we have almost 8 turns of cord. Smooth the cord with your fingers so that it's worked into the thread, as you can see there. Right guys, so you can see our Loctite 55 has been applied to the thread. Now all we need to do is wind that in, and you can already feel as you start to do that hand tight that is biting in, creating a really good watertight and oxygen tight seal. Grab your spanner and wind that in, and you can feel and actually hear the amount of tension. I mean look, that's moving my bench and it's not even all the way in yet, and that in my opinion has created for me a more trustworthy seal than PTFE tape would on a BSP thread, for example. So I would definitely recommend using the Loctite 55 for things like BSP threads. It can also be used on plastic ones of these, on things like water heaters. The next benefit with a 55 is you can actually back it off a quarter of a turn to line up something like an outdoor tap, and that won't compromise the seal that it's already made on the thread. Next benefit over PTFE tape, if we wind this all the way out, we can actually remove this in one big clump without having to use a wire brush. Let me know in the comments which you prefer out of the Loctite 55 and the PTFE tape, and you can find a link to where to buy these in the description below. If the video's helped you out, make sure to smash that like button and make sure you subscribe, because there's loads of content coming up that'll help you out in the future. And I'll stick a link somewhere up here where you can find a playlist of my other handy plumbing guides, so go check some of them out as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one.